Thank you so much for joining this lesson. We're going to look at graphs of quadratic equations together with the solution of quadratic equations from a graph of quadratic functions. Number 19 in part A, we are told to fill the table below for the function y equals to 2x squared plus 6x minus 5, values of x ranging from -4 all the way to +3, just as you can see in the table. Then after that, we draw the graph of the function y equals to 2x plus 6x minus 5 within the same range on the grid that has been provided. Afterwards, we shall be solving some equations using the same graph. The first marks are very obvious and a student is not supposed to miss. Actually, this is barely on substitution, a concept that you learn even from your primary level. So for us to substitute and get the values of y at the given values of x, we're supposed to be guided by this function, which has already been given here. So we need to say that the value of y is given by 2 into brackets, the value of x, which is a -4, then this we square, plus 6, again into -4, then minus 5. And the way we've substituted here, we type into the calc, and this is going to give us exactly +3. Then we proceed to -3, and we do the same. At -3, we need to talk about y being equal to 2 into -3, this one squared, plus 6 into -3. Then we subtract 5. This is going to give us exactly a -5. So we write -5 at that point. We proceed substituting all the values. At -2, you get -9. At -1, you get -5 again, -9 again. At 0, -5. When you substitute 0 in the function, the value of y shall be -5. When you substitute 1, you get exactly 3. When you substitute 2, you get +15. And finally, when you substitute +3 in the same function, the corresponding value of y shall be 31. So now the table is fully filled. Supposed to just apply your calculator intelligently and carefully, and you get all the values and the first 2 marks. Part B, we are going to draw the graph now. As we draw the graph, kindly be reminded here of our holiday programs. Remember, Shifting Grades Online School is the best platform for your academics. Our number is already pinned on the wall, 0704 15 3366, as you can see on this poster. Follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our platforms on YouTube. You can see our tentative programs here. This one happens in all the holidays. Grade 10s will be taught on their own, Form 3s on their own, Form 4s on their own. That is about the senior school. And when we get to the junior school, we are also attending to each level on its own. Grade 7s on their own, grade 8s on their own, and grade 9s on their own. This happens in mathematics, the sciences, and also the languages. So kindly take an initiative of reaching out to us through the number which is attached on the wall. Feel free to consult more about our programs. Otherwise, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Now, we are supposed to choose a scale for the vertical axis, that is the y-axis, and also another scale for the horizontal axis, or rather the x-axis. So let me first install the axis here, vertical line. This is called the y-axis, and we choose a scale for it. Then we proceed to the x, the horizontal line, and we also choose a scale for the same. We choose a scale for the same. Let me do the line. I'm supposed to be very careful to ensure that the lines are very horizontal and perpendicular to one another. We have the Cartesian plane. the origin here should be labeled 0, where the two axes are intersecting. Then after that, we can have some intervals according to the x values, which are just ranging from -4 to 3. We can even use two complete squares for 1 unit, like that, 2, 3, like that. Then on the other side, we shall have -1, -2, -3, -4. But for the vertical axis, when you observe it keenly, you discover that the values are ranging from -9, the lowest, all the way to +31. So that one will have a technical scale whereby we can even start with values ranging from +5, intervals of 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. And on the negative side, we do the same, -5, -10. I think that's enough, but you can have -15 at that point. So you see, we have chosen scales and we have labeled the axis properly. This is the x-axis. This is the y vertical axis. After that, now we go to the plotting of the coordinates. Plotting of the coordinates. The first coordinate, let me plot using a different color. The first plotted coordinate should be -4, +3. -4 and +3. +3 is just below 5. Remember, every small square on the vertical axis represents 1 unit. Therefore, that is where +3 is. Then -3 goes with -5, -3 and -5. What about -2 with -9? -9 is somewhere before 10. And also at -1, we see the same value of -9 at -1. At 0, we have -5. So -5 shall be there. At +1, we have 3. At +1, +3. The point is there. At +2, we talk about 15. +2, 15. 2, 15. That is where the point is. And finally, the last coordinate here. At +3, we talk about 31. +3, 31. Slightly above that, we get 31 there. So those are the dots. They are making a curve. They are already suggesting a curve. What you do after that is now joining the dots using a very smooth curve, a continuous curve. Yes. So we start now with the curve. Supposed to be very keen. Very keen. Very keen. Look at how smooth my curve is. Just look at how smooth and continuous my curve is. Very smooth and continuous. Let me check something at this point. Yeah. Very smooth and continuous at the same time. Wow. So if you start trying the curve in your graphical page, this is what I expect. A very smooth curve. Now that the curve function has been given, we can write it here and say this is curve y equals to curve y equals to 2x squared plus 6x minus 5. So that is the curve. After drawing the curve in a very smooth manner, we now proceed to part C, whereby we are required now to use the graph. Use your graph in part B above to solve the following equations. Look at the first equation and the second. One thing that you're supposed to know is that for you to solve quadratic equations using a quadratic function, you first write the function that you've plotted. Then you subtract the equation that you are solving. Of course, corresponding terms. You subtract corresponding terms. When you subtract these, you're going to get a straight line. You will follow the straight lines in the answering of this question. So this is y minus 0, we get y equals to 2x minus 2x squared, 6x minus 6x, negative 5 minus negative 5, it also becomes a 0. Everything is a 0. So we are going to use the line y equals to 0, otherwise called the x-axis. So we shall follow the x-axis to solve this equation. Now we consider where the x-axis cuts the curve and we obtain the values of x. So where is the x-axis cutting this curve? 1, you can see a point here. After negative 3 and 3.5, you can see at 3.6 on the negative side. 3.6 and x equals to, we also check where else the curve is cutting x-axis, that is the point. After 0.5 positive, that should be 0.6 exactly. So we have values of x being negative 3.6 and 0.6. So you follow the line that you've obtained after subtracting the function and the equation, where that particular line is cutting the curve. That becomes our solution, our values of x. Let's also check the other line here. You again take y equals to 2x squared plus 6x minus 5, and we subtract 0 equals to the second equation here, 2x squared minus x minus 6. So we are again subtracting corresponding terms in these two equations. So what are we getting here? Y minus 0, we get y. This is equal to 2x squared minus 2x squared. That becomes a 0. Then 6x minus negative x. That becomes positive. Minus 6 minus negative. It becomes a positive 1. So it's 6 plus x. Then negative 6 minus a negative. Negative 5 minus negative 6. So it should be negative 5 plus 6, making it a positive 1. I hope we are together in that subtraction. Minus 5 minus negative 6. It becomes minus 5 plus 6, giving us a positive 1. Now with this equation, we have to draw it. For you to draw an equation, you need to come up with a small table of values. A small table of values. For example, when the value of x is 0, what shall be the value of y? We substitute in the equation. Y equals to 7 times 0 plus 1. 7 times 0 plus 1 is going to give us 1. Then we proceed to, when the value of x is 1, when x is 1, 7 times 1, that is 7 plus 1, we get 8. Then when the value of x is 2, I think 3 points will be enough. 7 times 2 is 14, plus 1, 15. So we are going to use coordinates. Coordinates 2, 15, 1, 8. So 1 and 8 is this coordinate. 1, 8. Then also coordinate 0, 1. 0, 1 shall be there. We draw a straight line passing through those dots. A straight line passing through those particular dots. That is what shall help us. Then you see the line. It's supposed to use at least a different ink. Allow me use the blue now. So I'm going to connect the 3 dots plotted. Coordinate 215 was already plotted. So we are now joining directly. Wow, that way. That way. Now we've come up with a line. This is line 1 equals to 7x plus 1. Now this line is cutting the curve at particular values of x. And what are those particular values of x? So you check now along that particular where the curve is interacting with that line. In the lower side, we are having a point here. So that's where they meet. Which value of x on the x-axis? Which value of x is there? Negative 1.5. So values of x now, negative 1.5. And on the right-hand side, where are they meeting? At this point. They are interacting at this point. So this is at positive 2. Positive 2. So the values of x where they are meeting, the other point is positive 2. Exactly 0.2. 2.0, that is. So those are the values of x at the given points. Values of x where the curve meets the line. So basically you take the function plotted minus the equation that you have to solve. The same applies when the function is cubic. So that is it. Thank you so much for following. Please remember to acquire your airtime from our system here, whereby you simply need to go to the M-Pesa, Lipa na M-Pesa. The pay bill number is 737356. Then the account number is the phone number that you are purchasing the airtime for. Whether Safaricom, Telcom, Airtel, just enter the phone number as the account number. Proceed to enter the amount, then complete your transaction and receive your airtime instantly. Thank you for following. See you in the next video.